Alright, who is ready for the next gen TV? The truth is, most of you are not, because that is the ATSC 3.0, which is a new protocol for how TV stations send signal over the air to your home. And this is with over-the-air TVs with the free stuff you get with an antenna. This is not a cable service. This is not a streaming service. This is projected kind of like your FM radio is projected out there to listen to radio stations. You can pick up TVs, and honestly, it's making a big comeback over the last few years with a lot of cable cutting or cord cutting, where people are trying to not pay for their TV services or be very selective on which ones they pay for. So what this Zapperbox does is it captures that signal, but it gives you a lot of capability that you have been accustomed to with cable or streaming or other services, with things like pausing, recording the channels, and then also doing things like having a 14-day guide so you can see what's coming up, and you can use a DVR to select them and save them. It does things like pausing live TV so you can go to the restroom or go do something, and then you can come back and hit play and you don't miss a minute of your stuff. You can do commercial skip, that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do here is, this is my first time with Zapperbox itself. I've used other over-the-air DVR type stuff, like a couple different variants of the Tableau system, and I'll talk about the differences of this one versus that, the pros and cons to it. I'll also set this up and I will use it on my TV to see what I think about it, and I'll share that with you here. Now, Zapperbox did send me this product for free for testing, but I'm going to give it a full rundown and give you my fair opinion on it as well. So first, let's go into what comes in the box with the unit, and of course you have the unit itself that comes in there. You have the power adapter that comes with it. You get the remote control that comes with it. You get the printout of the instruction and a quick setup guide with it. One thing of note is that it does come with batteries for the remote. You know, it's funny, I had a kid's toy today that again did not come with batteries. I think it's part of shrinkflation, is they don't give you batteries anymore. But the Zapperbox still comes with batteries, and in fact I was a bit impressed because not only did it come with an Ethernet cable, but it also comes with an HDMI cable. And so those are things that you might need if you don't have them on hand yourself. The only product I bought in addition to the Zapperbox was a USB thumb drive. I'll do a quick note on that right now. They actually don't recommend a USB thumb drive. I'll get into that later. But that you'll need some type of device if you want to do recordings on the unit and to do pausing of live TV. It does have a couple different ways to add that. There's a USB 3.0, a USB 2.0 port, and then there's also a micro SD slot. So you can hook up a solid state drive, hard drive to it, to the USB. You can hook up thumb drives, even though they don't actually recommend them, or you can hook up a micro SD card as ways to add the storage. What else this has on the unit itself is the cable connection. So that's where you're going to bring in from your antenna to pick up the stations. Then you have HDMI out, which goes to your TV, and then you have Ethernet cable. I believe it also has Wi-Fi, so you can choose to use Ethernet or Wi-Fi. We'll talk about that here in a second. So the device is fairly simple. The instructions, I do want to make a quick call out to their frequently asked questions, because I looked through them and they actually are very helpful. They're not kind of the dumbed down FAQs. They actually go into details, and that kind of touches on the company behind this. So this is a U.S. company. It is a small business, so it's not some big corporation, and I think all their software and stuff is out of Iowa, and they support this. They've been doing it for like a quarter century. Not necessarily the Zapperbox itself, but a lot of the software behind your TV receivers, even your cable set-top boxes. They've been doing a lot of that and working with manufacturers, but they've actually been shipping out this device for I think a couple years now, which honestly is way ahead of all of its peers, because this is the only one that you can get that is a over-the-air DVR that supports the next-gen ATSC 3.0 station. So any other box out there today doesn't support that. So that gives you up to 4K resolution. Alright, so here is the FAQ page I'm talking about, and this is where I'm saying it does, I think it has 32 different questions of the answer. But if you click on any of these and drop them down, it actually gives you some good information and good details. It does feel way more filled out than a lot of other FAQs that I've seen around. And in here, this is where it will tell you. I think it's number 22 here. Talks about the storage. So all this wording here is telling you about what type of storage they recommend, and this is because they've actually tested this stuff. So they've gone through and they actually have links to specific items that they've tested that they say, hey, this one really works well. And these are things that we don't recommend. They give you different specs about it. So I think that kind of stuff is very helpful, and that is something that I will say is notable about this company versus the other ones I've dealt with. Is you can tell that it is a small business and they care about the product and they're trying to do the right thing. Part of that also means that they are continuously working on updates or solutions. So the Zapperbox right now is a direct to your TV type unit, meaning there is not an app that you can get from your tablet or whatnot and watch this some other place. You do need to have it hooked directly into one single TV, but they have lots of different things coming out to address that. One of them is a gateway mode where you can then access it from other TVs. You can do things like have multiple Zapper boxes in your house, and they can leverage each other's storage. So if you have storage on both of them, then they can both have shared storage, so you can share recordings between different ones inside your house. You could also do things like they're coming out with a Zapperbox, I think Zapperbox 0, which has basically just functionality to connect to other Zapperboxes in your house to wirelessly send the recordings and footage to another TV. So that's similar to what Tableau does. Tableau has actually, their new one has no HDMI port, so that's a big difference between these two. Is if you have an older TV that doesn't have a way, or I think I don't know if it's LG or Samsung, there's different TV brands that maybe don't have a Tableau app, and so there's no way to actually use their latest one. With that, this one you could hook that directly into the HDMI port, and then you could also have another Zapperbox or Zapperbox 0 somewhere else in your house that can also leverage those same recordings. So that's some of the differences here in the way that the Zapperbox is kind of set up. As far as downsides go, they only have a single and a dual tuner capability on the Zapperbox. They don't have the quad option that some of the competitors do have. That said, there is a option there of having multiple Zapper boxes, and then those, two dual tuner Zapper boxes, you can have it basically act as a quad tuner. So there is sort of a band-aid fix for that, but that is one downside, I would say, on this unit versus some of the competition. Another benefit that Zapperbox has is that they are planning to have a commercial ad skip feature in it. It's not there right now, but they're planning to add that with the software, and that would be updatable to the current ones you buy today. Alright, and now with the ATS 3.0, you get 4K capability. Now your station has to support that, of course, but it also comes with things like HDR capability and things like Dolby Atmos audio, so much better sound as well in there. And then there's another option that they're doing with ATS 3.0 that is basically allowing broadband connection and allowing you to basically stream channels, but it's still using that linked ATSC 3.0 to the station to get them. So that means you do have to have internet connection on the device for it to work, but then you're actually streaming internet-based TV with the box as well. All right, now for my thumb drive I have here, I have a 256 gigabyte size one, and it has speeds up to 400 megabytes per second for read capability. And I have a Roku TV upstairs that I use, and I actually have a thumb drive in it. I've used that for over 7 years to do the Roku's live TV pausing. I have not had a problem, but what Zapperbox have said is that they have seen failures with thumb drives, I guess because the memory inside them is perhaps cheaper than some other types of media storage, and certainly cheaper than like an SSD hard drive would have. So that's why they don't recommend it. They say, hey, it might eventually fail. And now it all depends on how much you're watching the TV. And when you're doing the, obviously, pause live TV, it's always recording to the disc whenever you're watching TV. So something to keep in mind is that it could fail at any point. All right, well, let's go get it hooked up to the TV and just see what it looks like. All right, so I screwed in the antenna, and I put in the HDMI cable. I'm using the cable they actually included. And then now I'm putting in this thumb drive into the USB 3.0 port there. I'm plugging in power for the first time. Alright, so I'm going to go down to HDMI 4, which is where I have this one plugged in, and we'll just see what it says here. Alright, so this is the first time setup. Alright, so this way you can pick either Wi-Fi or wired connection. I'm going to hook it up to my 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi in my house. Alright, so now it's connecting to my home Wi-Fi. There we go, that was quick and easy. Alright, so I guess it's going to do a test connection here to make sure I have good enough Wi-Fi. And then it shows there is a update for the Zapperbox that I need to install. Alright, so we'll let it download and install that update for a second. I'll read the instructions. Alright, so that update actually only took a couple seconds and it restarted. So now we have a run channel scan. This is where it's going to go on your antenna connection and try to find as many stations as possible. So this is where if you have an antenna, you want to have that already placed in the best place possible. For me, I have a antenna up on a TV mast that goes above the roof line, so like 30 feet high. So that one is what I'm using with this connection. Alright, so what you can see here is it's going through all the different RF channels. Now that's not to be confused with the channel number that you see on your TV. For example, some of them do line up, like this RF channel 12 does line up with my actual ABC station, which is 12-1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then I have other ones like 23 that actually show up as channel 5 or channel 25. And so the other thing you'll see here is this little icon, the little like kind of rainbow looking thing. That is the NextGen icon. So that's telling me that these two channels over there are ones I get that are currently broadcasting ATSC 3.0 stations. So let's see how this performs. Okay, so now that the scan is done, I'm going to go to the next page here. Okay, so now this is one difference as well with the Zapperbox is they do not include the 14-day guide for free. I think it is a 1-day guide maybe for free. I'm not positive on that. But what they do is they give you a 30-day free trial if you want to sign up for it, see if you like it, and then you can do a annual subscription. I forget how much it is. I want to say it's like $29.99 a year. So it's not crazy expensive, but it is something you do have to pay for if you want to have that going on. So I'll go ahead and scan that and subscribe, but that's something for you to decide if you want to do. Alright, so I actually just signed up for the annual plan, and it is $29.99, and that gives you up to 2 tuners. It actually gives you a 30-day free trial, and I think you get a few extra months for free. So I think it's something like, I don't know, 14 months or 16 months that I get with it. And it's not going to charge me until 30 days. I did have to put a credit card number in there, but it's something you could cancel before you get that 30 days if you did want to not keep subscribed to it. Alright, so that's everything that is for the setup, so it did not take very long. Alright, so now the first thing it shows me is that is a brand new flash drive, and so it does need to be formatted. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do here is go into the menu, go down to the settings, and I want to turn on the live TV pause feature. So that is probably one of my favorite features of these types of devices, is being able to pause the TV whenever I want and not lose any space. So go down to storage, I go over here to pause buffer, and now it does show you here it's only recommended for hard drives and SSDs. Don't use a thumb drive, but that's what I'm going to do anyways. As I mentioned before, the thumb drive, the problem with it is the memory. It can get something called like a flash burn on it, where it burns out basically, and that will happen over time. I've been using mine upstairs for like 7 years, and I haven't had a problem with it burning out yet, even though we use the TV a lot. So it's a risk I'm willing to take, basically. But if you want to do it right, use a hard drive or a portable SSD plugged into the USB port to have better longevity. The big downside to this is that currently in the software, your saved recordings for your shows or movies that you record, they also get saved to the same thumb drive. You can't separate out them to different places, but that is a feature that Zapperbox is working on, where in the future they will allow you to have a pause live TV storage media and a long-term media, and that is something I would recommend utilizing in the future, so you separate those two out. So let's turn that pause buffer on. Alright, so this is something interesting. I did not know that it had YouTube. It says you can launch it, and then I use my back arrow to get back out of it. But this is interesting. I, of course, am interested in watching YouTube because I'm a YouTube channel. So this is pretty cool that it has it built in automatically here. I did not know that, and that is actually a really cool feature of the Zapperbox. I didn't even see that mentioned somewhere else. I probably missed it there. Alright, so here's the programming guide. I do like the layout. This is pretty nice. It shows you your preview here. It shows you the channel that you're watching on that preview. It shows you that here again. Shows us our time. If I go up a page, you know, that T2 programming doesn't have a lot of information on it, but this one actually has the information I would expect, where it has a little summary of what it is, the TV rating on it. Alright, so I'm going to go here. This is, you know, some of these channels have more features than other ones. You can see my channel 5 here actually has some icons of my local station, which is kind of neat. And you can see it has the ATSC 3.0 Next Gen station, and right below it, it has the same channel, but it's the ATSC 1.0 broadcast. So it's the exact same station, but one is Next Gen and one is not. So I'm just going to open up and click on the Next Gen one and show you that's the channel 4. Now switching to channel 5. And what you can see here is on the bottom, it's giving you a signal strength. So I'm assuming that's out of 100. So it's saying it's about 61% or so. And you can saw it did take a second, or actually probably like 3 or 4 seconds, for it to load up the station so that it decodes that Next Gen channel. That is something you're going to see, and it is a downside to the Next Gen. Is right now it does take longer than I would like for it to change channels on it. If I go up a channel to change to it's really the same channel, it's just the next one. Again, there is a slight delay there. You saw it does some things to make sure that it has the video and audio synced, but know that it's not quite instant that maybe you're used to on some of the older stations, or even the older boxes that don't do some of the features here. Alright, now if I press the info button, one thing I do want to show is it does pop up what quality the channel is. This is a 1080p. This is a Next Gen station. They're not doing 4K, but at least it's 1080p, which is a lot better than the 1080i or 720i that some of my other stations have. Now on this station, if I press the zap button, the zap button is kind of like a multifunction button. So if I hit zap, so this quick menu is actually really helpful. It allows you to quickly turn on and off the captions. It allows you to change your audio experience as far as if you want English, Spanish, or different audio types. And then this is another quick feature that's kind of nice. It's the hide and show. So if you get on a channel that's poor and doesn't have good quality, you can go in here and you can hide that specific channel so that it doesn't go to it anymore, which is nice. And the other thing it does do is allow you to turn the signal meter on and off. If I take it on, this allows me to see a little bit more details about my station, my signal quality. So this might help you if you're especially aiming an antenna, or if you're having troubles with it. You can look into here and figure out some more details about that station and what might be going on. Alright, one thing that I have not seen them advertise too much is that the Zapperbox actually upscales all of the video output to 4K if your TV supports the 4K resolution. So that means if you're getting a 1080p or even a 480 channel coming in, it is going to upscale that. And this TV is a 4K, a 65-inch TV, so it's big. And you'll notice that if you have a poor quality image coming into it. And I'm watching it and I'm just thinking how good this actually looks. This is over-the-air TV. And so I think I want to play a little section here. This is a obviously like a close up of a lady, and I think the detail that you can see is impressive. So I'm going to step out of the way, let you watch that, but understand this channel is a 1080p channel. You can see right there, it is next gen, but let's just watch this for a second so you can see the image quality.
I called Dave and I said, "Did you hear about Coach Thomas?" And he was real quiet. And he said, "Joan, yeah, he has been shot. And they think Mark is involved."
Alright, so I've been using the Zapperbox for this past week and testing it out, having lots of recordings. I've been really impressed with the quality of the footage. It is fantastic. It's really the best I've seen. There are some quirks I want to talk about, or some nuances to know about. The first is, I must say that the interface and the remote themselves seems to be different than most of the ones that I have been used to. For example, there's no like home page that you go to. Instead, you do have to use the buttons like DVR or guide or live TV to kind of get to different places. And it's not bad, it's just something I had to get used to. It does work perfectly fine. But then there are some other buttons here, like the zap button and info button and menu button, that are something I just had to learn. So the interface is different than some of the other devices that I have been used to. But for example, if I'm watching a show here, it is very easy for me to pause it if I want to pause it, and I can rewind it if I go in here just to show you that. If I hit the OK button, that pauses it. If I hit the back button, it goes back 10 seconds. If I press and hold it, it will keep going back. You can see there for as long as up to 60 minutes. If I've been watching that same channel for the past 60 minutes, it will keep that buffer going. Now, if I change the channel to another channel, if I go up here, it will then restart that buffer back at 0 here. And if I'm watching something and I decide I want to record it, I can just hit the record button. This is where it's kind of nice to have some of these buttons just around the remote. If I just hit the record button, it will just automatically start recording that show for me, and then I can hit record again, and that will end it if I want the recording to stop. And then another feature that I like is that this remote has buttons on it with numbers. That might seem like you'd expect that, but a lot of these newer TVs, especially the little streaming boxes like my Roku that I'm very used to, does not have numbers on the remote. So you either have to keep scrolling down manually, or you have to use your voice or something. This one, I can go from channel 62. I can just type in 1, 2 to 12. I don't have to type in the decimal, but then it's going to switch up to channel 12 on the guide here. And the same thing if I'm watching the channel and I just want to go to a new channel, I can just type that in and it will flip it kind of like you would expect. But I've been surprised with some of the other little set-top boxes that you don't get that feature in it. Now, if I want to look at my recordings that I've had going on, I can hit DVR button here. That brings me into, oh, sorry, I pressed it twice there. That brings me into the DVR page here, and you can see a couple things I have here. Right here is my capacity of my hard drive that I have in there. It's actually a thumb drive. But then it shows you my different, this is the one I just recorded here for like, 5 seconds. It's in there. But then I have my 2020 that has an episode. I have 6 episodes of This World News. All this stuff, so I can go in here and click on any of these and get some more information on them. Like if I want to go into this AFV, it's going to show you my 4 episodes I have, and they're all in May of 2024. I can go down, I can hit play, or go over here to any of these, and I can see where I can hit play and go to them, or I can go over here and delete them, or delete all of them if I wanted to as well. Alright, and then if I want to see my schedule, if I go back over here to the left side and go down to the schedule, this is showing you the schedule that's upcoming, all my recordings. It's telling you what the duration is, the channel, and the title of it. I could go down to any of these if I wanted to and hit the zap button, and that will cancel that scheduled recording. So if I hit zap here, it goes red. If I hit zap again, that will undo it. So I think you have a little bit of time to back out if you did that by accident. But then I can also go down to the series page, and this is now showing you all my series that I have set up. So not one-off recording, but they're series. And I can see what channel they're on and when I created that series recording. I can also do manual. So manual is going to be most important if you don't pay the subscription for the guide. Then you can't say go record 2020 because it doesn't know when 2020 is, but you could go in there and say, hey, on Fridays at 8 p.m. Till 9 p.m., um, daily or weekly, then record that, and it will record that show for you manually without having to pay for the subscription itself. All right, next is the history. So history is showing you all my past ones. This is good for understanding, especially if something failed. You can see that I had this one that I user canceled, and that's the one that I showed you. I hit record, and then I told it to stop. But you can see all these other ones as well. I've not had a problem. It always has been recording for me. It's been pretty robust from that standpoint. All right, now if you're watching live TV and you hit the menu button, then you can get, I showed before, YouTube in the settings. But the other thing that you might like is the search. So I go into the search. Now I can actually search, and this is searching both live TV and future, because I'm paying for the subscription. So if I do something like the Colbert Report, which I think I was just watching on that station, it should show up here. Alright, so just typing that in, I can see that it does show up, and what you see here is that there's actually 8 that it says is going on now, and that must be probably because I have both the next gen station, I have the non-next gen, but still in the same channel, but then I actually get a couple different CBS channels out there, so it's now showing me on channel 6. I also get it, and then since I didn't complete the search, it's showing me Cold Case and other things that I also meet with it. But so now any of these I can click on them and that will go to watch that. But if I go down here to later, this is now showing you later shows that are going to be coming up that you might want to watch. So on here, for example, here's the late show again. If I click OK with that one, now I can go, this is showing me all the different channels. If I hit OK on it, this is going to give me recording options. So this is where I can go in there and tell it to record just that one, or I can tell it to record the series and do those kind of features. If I search for something that I already have recorded, I can also edit the series there. So a couple different ways you can get in to edit your series that you already have created. Okay, and one thing to note, actually on the live TV when you're watching it, it's doing that buffer pause if you have that set up. But even if you were to turn off your TV, it's still doing that, and it's constantly recording to that storage media that you have in there, unless you hit the red button on the Zapperbox remote, which will put it in standby mode. That little blue LED that's on there will turn red. Or I think if you go into the YouTube app, that will also stop it. But just know that, especially if you're using something like a SD card or a thumb drive, it's pretty important to probably turn it off into standby mode when you're not using it. Otherwise, it's always in the background kind of recording. Now on the remote, they also have buttons for your TV power, your TV volume, and switching, I guess, your input on your TV as well. Those can be learned. It does need to be the IR type of remote. You know, some of the TVs nowadays use wireless communication, not the infrared stuff. So that might work for your TV or it might not. But overall, the remote is simple and it seems to be robust. I just had to learn kind of how the Zapperbox layout works on here. All right, the only real complaint I have with it is that I do have complaints with how long it takes for it to load or decrypt the ATSC 3.0 stations, and sometimes I run into problems where it seems a little glitchy or doesn't load. And my fix for that typically has been I go up a channel, which will get me to the non-ATSC 3.0 one. It gives me the regular one. Once it loads that, then I can go back to the next gen version, and it seems to work. But even when I do that, you can see here that there is a lag in time, and it's very noticeable that the next gen stations are slower to load than the non-next gen. So that's only great, but that's something that they are going to continue to improve. I did talk to them about some of those complaints, and that's something that they're adding with features, and the fact that I've only had it a week and they've already released a firmware update that fixed some of my early complaints. I have pretty high confidence that they are going to continue to improve this. So I do recommend that you get this, and it's something that you're going to have a lot of these neat features as they roll out. So even though Next Gen TV is really kind of still just in the rollout phase, if you do have stations like I do that you can pick them up, I've been really impressed with the quality of the video that you do get, and the audio is also better. So that's really neat to have. And I know that as more features come out, this broadband based stuff, the higher 4K resolution, all that stuff this box can get. So I'm kind of future proof by getting it. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you found it useful. Do give me the thumbs up button and consider subscribing. Check out the links in the description down below that I do have for the Zapperbox to get discounts, as well as some of the other products that I mentioned in here as well. And then if you have any questions, please put a comment down below. I do read those comments and try to answer them. So let me know any feedback that you have or things that you've seen as well. And I appreciate it. So thanks for tuning in. Take care.